Welcome back to Waking the People with your hosts, Sir Chad Everett Broshears, and my partner here.
I still haven't come up with a name. So a friend of mine, here's what a friend of mine told me. He said that I should be the Patriot. And I was like, okay, well, I love the movie. I'm not sure if I want that to be my nickname, but I was thinking possibly Joshua, your Patriot, McClendon, right? Because I'm not just the only Patriot, right? We're all Patriots, but maybe in some way I'm your Patriot.
I like that one. I like it.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it yet. It's gonna take a while.
Keep trying it out. Yeah, you keep surveying it out, you know? And that's the nice thing about it, man. It's like I say at the end of the videos, we're all in this together. And then the beautiful thing is bringing us all into it together. You know, we're going to have differing opinions. We're going to have all kinds of differing opinions. But to completely discredit somebody over their differing opinion as if they are worth less in life is absolutely absurd. Why the hell do that to people? I don't do that to people that I oppose political views with, you know, or have opposing political views. It's like, yeah, there's going to be things that I feel kind of exhausted in. And I get that that's also going to have people kind of feel the same way. I see my buddy there. I waved at you, by the way. You should be able to pop in. The invite should go out to bring you into the video.
The button. Is that it right there?
I'm not sure.
All I got is, would you like to? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. That's the one.
That's it?
All right.
So we're good now?
I'll see you in a second. Okay, I just got people witness to be watching this here. All right. So while Joshua kind of walks his way through it on the other side, and, you know, again, we're both still learning some of this stuff. Today's episode is going to be on the inauguration and also first 4 days in office and some of the fun stuff that's happened. So also to give you guys a little bit of part of a segment that we're doing, which is whenever we're having beer together and doing this, I am going to be trying a IPA today, which, by the way, for anybody who is that follows anything that I put out there, I'm not exactly a fan of IPAs, but I figured I'd give it a shot, you know, not live too much in there. I like this, I don't like that. So today I'm going to be enjoying a Sweetwater 420 strain IPA. Oh, this will help us get through the episode, or won't. And once I can get Joshua in here.
Is it working yet?
There you go, buddy. You should be in.
Yeah, I'm good now. You figured it out?
There he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Your Patriot, Joshua McClendon. Taking its sweet-ass time to add you in.
In the flesh?
In the flesh, baby.
Not sure yet, though.
All right, here we go. If you guys are going to buy this when you're out, and if you like an IPA, we'll find out if this was any good. No, it's time. It says oh, look at that. I got a split screen for you.
Good now? Yeah?
Yeah.
We finally figured it out. It's going to be a little bit of a weird angle, guys, but oh well, we'll just have to deal with it.
Got that echo going on, too.
Good now?
Ooh. God, I feel like I'm going to fail a drug test with this one.
Okay. Should be, yeah.
God, it's like drinking bong water. I mean, I wouldn't know what that's like at all.
I don't know why the volume should be down all the way.
Well, we're going to find out, because who better to be our test subjects and our guinea pigs than our friends on Facebook,
right?
And then everybody who's following and watching that's not doing the Facebook Live. We're here for you too. Actually, we're here for everybody.
How do you mute it? Is it muted yet? I'm so bad, guys, with this Facebook Live thing. Probably because of their, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm just horrible at it. I hit the button. I turned my volume down. I didn't know I was so technically illiterate, Chad. Like this is a whole new version of myself I'm discovering here.
I mean, I don't want to put it out this way, but it is affecting our friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could even acknowledge you in a grocery store at this point.
I can see it.
You know, people will be like, hey, what about that time you did that thing? And you remember Joshua was there? I'll be like, he wasn't there. Nope.
Yeah, right. Can they
completely wiped out of my history?
They can at least hear me through the video, right?
Yeah, they can just hear you through the video instead of having you pop in, because it's giving us a bit of an echo, and I really don't want to torture everybody that much. They got to look at this mug. They've got enough torture and torment going on. All right, let's just get past all of the fun stuff in here and them watching me drink my way through oblivion. on this wonderful Saturday. By the
Thank
way,
you, Mark.
our wonderful sponsor this week has been brought to you by Moron and Moron for the Sheeple. So by all means, please, if you have any legal issues or anything, go to another company. Yeah.
Yep. Take it up with them.
Yep. And I grew up watching that guy on TV, by the way, like 3 o'clock in the morning and wake up, and like my parents were asleep and I'm all like, "Ooh, look at me. I'm a rebel kid." And then he'd come on when I'm trying to watch reruns of I Love Lucy
I
because I'm
love
that
those.
old.
Some
Yeah.
shows, they just never go away, man. Like what Seinfeld, MASH has been on like for 100 years. Some
Hey,
of them just time.
not
Hey,
100 years, man. Don't exaggerate it. There's great
been on
areas.
for a while. MASH is holding it down. But like just certain
Yeah.
shows that, or like I know people who maybe school like this too. Like they'll just have Friends playing in the background. Like they'll just let the TV show Friends just play on repeat episode. I haven't seen one episode of Friends, just to be honest, just to go live.
You know what's crazy, by the way? I tried that just to like leave it for the dogs. I'd leave it on and be like, "Oh, my dog's gonna have a good time when I'm at work." Man, my dogs got into so much drama when I wasn't around because of watching Friends consistently. I mean, they had all kinds of crazy ass stuff going on. I turned it off. They started getting along again. It was ridiculous. So, you want to talk about division? How about that? All right. Everybody's like, "But I love Fifi or Fiji, whatever the hell." Whatever, man. It's like Ross, whatever. I'm not getting into it. I'm backing off. The only thing I have to say is Seinfeld's off way too soon.
Yeah, that's true. I love Seinfeld. Great show.
Because I'm out. I didn't make it. I lost the bet. All right. I did it right here, right now. Yeah, hands free. Because I got skills, baby. All right, let's not overly, work our way through the pleasantries and act like we're just, crazy ass people just hanging out in our rooms while we're recording on a Saturday where everybody else is out playing in the fair and eating funnel cakes or whatever the hell they do on Saturdays. Let's get into it. So, all right, let's start off the first little segment with the inauguration. You ready for that, Joshua?
I think I'm pretty ready for it. Yeah.
All right, so let me give everybody a little piece of this just to do the proper introduction for the inauguration. And here you go. This is for the 2021 Joseph Biden Jr. Inauguration. And here you go. Woo! Yeah. All right, let's get to it, baby.
Pretty accurate. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch it live. I was at work. So when I got home probably around like 2 o'clock. So I think it was over by then, or maybe it was like going on. So I went to YouTube, went to their recorded video, sat down. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my due diligence. I'm not gonna be one of the not my president people. So I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and watch some of it. So I would get about 10 minutes in, and I had this flashback. Do you remember that scene in Forrest Gump when he's sitting in like the VA hospital and he's watching some political TV show, and that officer or that soldier comes in and goes, "Gump, how can you watch such stupid shit? Turn it off." Like that just went off in my head, and I just had to turn it off. I was like, I cannot finish this for so many different reasons. Like I don't even know where to begin. It was just a complete like clown show, and there was two part of me. So one of it was like, okay, this is a typical political ceremony on TV, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But the other part of me was like, so the same people who have been telling us for the past year to stay home, right? Don't go see your family on Thanksgiving. Don't go see your family on Christmas. Don't go see your family on New Year's. Don't go to work because you might get sick. Stay home, stay safe. And they're up there having like a party. Like they got Lady Gaga there. I mean, how many people do you need to sing?
Games.
You know what I mean? Like, how many people do you need to sing at this? And they're like hugging each other and kissing. Like I saw people like kissing each other on the cheek, and it was just a clown show. Like a part of me thought it was like kind of like a slap in the face. Like I get that they're trying to create like an entertainment value, but I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch it either, but I did it out of respect for our nation. No, that's all I got to say about it. Other than that, I do have one thing that was great that came out of it. I don't know about anybody else, but this Bernie meme is freaking on
Oh yeah.
fire, man. Oh, I love it. I have friends that I highly respect. Okay. And if you're watching or if you see this, I respect you nonetheless. But holy crap, that's freaking hilarious. Like it looks so stupid at first, but how they're moving it around, like it is hilarious. And it actually is really stupid. It is unbelievably stupid. It is Bernie Sanders sitting there, legs crossed, and he's all balled up. And you can tell he's just trying to get some of that communist heat going, where you just kind of like gyrate into yourself in your coat. And he's just sitting there and he's like just chilling with his mittens, and I don't want to call him like what normal people call him. I'm going to call him what I was raised to call him. We call him mittens. All right. Mittens. All right. He's sitting there and he's just keeping away. Now, the first one that I saw that really got me going, that's some funny stuff, was the meme where he's doing MMA and he's got the eyes on back. And I'm like, all right. I almost peed a little bit, but full disclosure, I did a little bit. But don't worry, I'm not a savage. I did it when I was in a public pool. It was heated.
Bernie was like to me the only one that like knew this was bullshit. Like, so not only do we have like 30,000 National Guard people or soldiers, staying at the Capitol, which apparently there's been a lot of reports that there kind of being some mistreatment of those soldiers. So we've had them there for what, a month, and we got gates up everywhere. I felt like I was in like feudalist Europe, like only the highly regarded can have concerts and parties. Like they've been canceling for the last year and a half, and you want to have like this, I don't know. I thought it was kind of, they could have did a little bit more structured to what's going on, I guess. Is that a good way to explain it? You know what I'm trying to say?
I think that it was, if no other better way to show that there's an elite class that goes beyond wealthy people. Like there really is a class of elitism. That shows it. I really found that was pretty distasteful all the way around. But then again, like I said, I didn't watch it out of respect for our nation. But I will say that the other things that I did see, like Lady Gaga absolutely embodies the perfect example of the movie The Hunger Games, with the real strange mannequin looking woman that just says, for may the odds forever be in your favor. Now, in full disclosure as well, I only watched two of the movies. I really just kind of lost interest with it because, I mean, if I wanted to watch a bunch of kids running around killing each other, I'd just watch, Lord of the Flies again and be done with it, because I'm a classic kind of guy like that. But Lady Gaga absolutely seems to be the perfect embodiment of that person. Yeah, it was unbelievably uncanny. I don't know if she did it on purpose. I wouldn't put it past her. She's actually a very intelligent person. Unfortunately, she's a little too liberal for my taste. But, and actually not liberal. And to take that back, I have liberal leanings myself. She's a little too progressive for my taste. And in the political spectrum, progressives will be along the same category as the far, 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 far right. So, because they get extremely radical.
Did you see the picture of them kissing?
What's that?
There was a picture of her and her, I guess it's her boyfriend, that were kissing with their masks on. You see that picture?
Are you allowed to say that? That it was their boyfriend?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't ask him what he identified as before I said that. But I was just gonna assume that's who he was,
This choo-choo train?
Yep. Choo-choo train. Speaking of that.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
Give us a little. We got 3 people watching us at the moment on Facebook Live because we are uber popular.
So to me, so we're 4 days into inauguration, right? We're 4 days into Joe Biden's presidency. I'm already starting to see some, I don't want to say maybe some pullback as far as the people who were a big supporter of Joe Biden and kind of thought they knew what they were signing up for. But I was watching that his first executive order that he did, he mandated that every educational system that receives federal funding must allow, I don't even know how to say it. What's the right way to say it? Someone that identifies as a female but is actually biologically a male must be able to participate in women's sports. Like if they must, or else they'll lose their federal funding.
Yeah. And
But
open the doorway for lawsuits and things. I believe they were already open for lawsuits, but all right. So as far as it goes, it's not like we don't stand for the rights of the marginalized and the people that are oppressed. It's not that at all. It's that there are people that'll take advantage of those situations where we've already seen it within 2018 and 2019, and then into 2020, where there were transgender participants that were getting scholarships that were specifically assigned for women, and they were clearing these scholarships by far. You know, there was a track and field runners in Connecticut that outdid every single female runner significantly, and they were granted their scholarships. That's a problem because it puts people in a really uncomfortable position, in a pretty unfortunate position that has them not able to really compete. And that's not fair, especially whenever there's specific scholarships that are intended for, helping women get a leg up. So, yeah, that's one of the gripes that I have with it. I'm absolutely for supporting individuals that really do need the support, but there's also some lines that you have to draw so that it's not abused.
And like as far as women's sports go, I'm like, if this is the direction we're going to go in, and this is one of the issues that I have with progressive thinking, is it doesn't really take into account the overall effect it's going to have on society and how we're supposed to behave and how we're supposed to treat certain things. In this case, it's female athletics, which, to be quite honest, has already been struggling for quite some time, and now we're going to add this whole new pool of participants that have a biological, I guess, advantage over the females. So if we're going to go in this direction, we got to figure out some kind of measurement to what is considered a female and what's considered a male. And I thought we had that already, but it looks like we have to do a little bit more diving. Like you said, not saying that, not telling anyone else what to think, or I think this is wrong. I just feel like, I'm just worried for female athletics. Like it's going to be a complete disadvantage for some participants.
Yeah, I agree. And that'd be one of them. One of the issues that obviously that's there. Again, it's always about making sure we're protecting individuals across the board. On another note, one of our worthless individuals in Congress, Chuck Schumer, with his little vernacular slip, referring to President Trump inciting violence, and he had mentioned erection in his in his statement, and I think that it's because he was so vehemently against Trump that he kind of felt that way whenever everything was going on. Yeah, it was supposed to be insurrection, and he said, all right, on to another subject. Was people are dropping off like flies over here on Facebook Live. See what we get for actually bringing up controversial subjects and speaking about it in such a way that at least puts it on the discussion table. We're not saying we're 100% right. By all means, there's details that matter, and please, bring it to the light. So bring it, baby.
Yeah, it's stuff we're going to have to talk about. We can't just present something based off of facts that we don't know fully and just expect people to conform immediately when they've conformed other ways for hundreds of years or thousands of years. As long as human civilization has been around, we're going to have to come to some kind of concrete level of where we build upon. And if we never talk about it, we're never going to get there. And I feel like some people kind of shy away from these conversations, and I think they're important to have, because that's how you make progress, right? Progress comes from being uncomfortable, being testing yourself. So if we don't have these difficult conversations, then nothing's ever going to get fixed.
Agreed. All right, we only got about another 5 minutes left on Facebook Live. All right, let's do this real quick. Let's touch on a couple other things that have happened with the executive orders. We do have the Keystone pipeline that was shut down. That actually did cost us. We've seen two different figures so far. It's 10,000 and 11,000 jobs immediately. Day one, I believe.
Yeah.
So immediately shutting down something that actually killed some jobs when we're already struggling to get ourselves back on our feet. And it also went against a contract that the United States had with Canada. That's one that we really do need to take into consideration. It sounds and seems to me more like it was just about the politics of it and not really any depth of thinking. So that's a major issue. We're putting people out of work versus putting people into work. Creating jobs shouldn't be that hard, but it does take something to create a job. It's not like flick your finger. People have to get in place. They have to set things up. They have to come up with agreements. It's a lot that it takes to create a job. And to knock them out like that, just like that, is incredibly insane to me. And it seems like it's just a vendetta. It's a vendetta thing. We need to erase the knowledge and the exposure or the history that Trump had and fulfilling on his promises that he made to the public when he was elected originally. So Keystone jobs, major issue, by the way. If it says 10 to 11,000 jobs, that is direct jobs. That is not indirect jobs, the ancillary jobs, the ones that come up around people whenever they're out working. So you're going to have support jobs or companies or services around these individuals. They have to have lodging. They'll have to have food. They'll have to have transportation. We're talking about the automotive industry gets an impact on it. There's a lot of different companies that get involvement with those jobs. With them coming out of play, there's a ripple effect. It's not like a seamstress job where the seamstress only works with so many people. This is a job that has a significant ripple throughout the economy. So to say 10 or 11,000 individuals direct jobs, that could be hundreds of thousands of jobs if you look at the ripple effect over the overall support to those positions. So that's a major thing. And for us to look just like, oh, well, that sucks for them. It sucks for all of us. So up to 11,000 jobs was the last one that we did. By the way, when you guys, if you're going to start looking stuff up, I would advise that you don't use Google Chrome or Google as your search engine. I personally prefer using that to find out what does come up in the search engine. But I also like using DuckDuckGo, because DuckDuckGo is going to let us get something that's not so locally based, and it allows you to see something far beyond that. So you can see what other countries see, not just the United States. I wouldn't say that Google does it for a nefarious reason. I would say that Google does it for convenience, that if it's a local search, you should get local results. And sometimes that will layer over big searches that you do. That's why I will use Google Chrome and I will use DuckDuckGo to give me a better insight over what really is going on. Because with Google Chrome, to find what we found off of this, 10 to 11,000 jobs, as well as some of the other things we're going to go over briefly. And then we'll continue on with the main channel on some of the stuff. But we had to go to DuckDuckGo to get it because Google had it buried. It was just like, it was so hard to find it. It gave me search fatigue. You only go so far. I'm not a trained journalist. That's not my skill set. That's not my tolerance level. So I have an attention span that may go a bit beyond the average person when it comes to doing that type of research. I am scientifically trained from my college years, but not the journalistic training. Now, DuckDuckGo, on the other hand, brings stuff up pretty quick and easy without all of these extra articles and websites that kind of pollute the searches when you're looking through Google Chrome. So I wouldn't say that Yahoo's better. I don't even know if Ask Jeeves is even still around.
I think it's still saying in England. Overseas, they still use it.
Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, Ask Jeeves.
That would make sense for them. Oh, it's Brett's.
Right. I think gas prices, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, wasn't like 3 weeks ago, we were at like $2.17 a gallon for gas. And all of a sudden now, like I filled up today and it was like $2.37. Like gas prices are going to go up. It's going to be like, I don't know how high they're going to go, but I just think of like people who are already kind of struggling and our economy that's not that great. I mean, we just said that there were 50,000, probably, hundreds of thousands of jobs lost just last week. That if gas goes from, okay, it cost me, let's say $25 to fill up my tank, goes to $50 a tank, that's going to start to, kind of have a ripple effect in the economy as well. So it's funny. I've already seen people who were a little bit more on the Biden side on Facebook and some social media networks that were already complaining about the gas prices going up. And it took everything I have, not just be like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, you just like, if you do that, gas prices are going to go up. It's just simple. And then just wait till people start traveling again. They're not doing as many flights now, and gas prices are really going to go up.
Yeah. And that's the major thing that people aren't aware of is like we get on these talking points and we pick sides tribally. We're like, you know what? Well, we're pro environment. So we're against the Keystone pipeline. So in other fossil fuels. So we need to get rid of those and go completely, renewable. And the problem with it is that we need to stage ourselves to get there. It's like actually both people come to the table and say, let's make a plan to work together to get to the point where we can become renewable energy salient. But instead, we're like, nope, cut it off. We're inventive enough. We're going to go ahead and get to the point where we need to be and not realize that our economy is what actually will take the major hit because we get on our talking points. We need to stay on fossil fuel. No, at some point in time, that's not going to be an option. We need to jump immediately over to renewable. That's an expensive endeavor that's not tried and true yet. So there's a lot more you need to learn about it versus just what you learn about from, major news sources. So when it comes to that, there's more that we need to do. I am not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm definitely not a progressive. I'm in non-party affiliated places, but I have conservative leanings. I have liberal leanings. The big benefit about this is how do we bring ourselves back to the table so we can at least talk about this versus let's shut down these jobs and then let's make sure that everybody moving forward is going to be, dependent on the state more, or let's just kill some jobs so that we have more unemployed people. Let's work our way towards something more valuable for us all long term. So that's definitely one. I want to continue that subject when we get back over. Just go back to the channel exclusive. But I do want to say one more. Let's touch the medication things. This has been another executive order to actually freeze Trump's restrictions and/or what Trump did is he put the medical necessity medications or medically necessary medication executive order in place that reduced the cost of life-saving drugs to the point where they were affordable. One of those was insulin. The other is the epinephrine. Now, the epinephrine is the EpiPen, that type. Those are considered life-saving because people are dependent on them. Same thing with insulin. Now, the price prior to the cuts that the executive order put in place made the without insurance costs on insulin between $174 a vial to $300 a vial, which I'm not somebody that's dependent on insulin, so it's hard to actually gauge what the actual usage is. Now, you can get an average, but not necessarily every person takes the same dosage, some more, some less. But that changes it. Now, that made it affordable. There was one person that spoke about it on one of the articles that I went over. She was paying, with the cuts and the executive order that Trump put in place, $105 a month. That may sound like a lot. Before the executive order, she was paying $475 a month for insulin for a child.
That's like
one
another
person. Yeah,
that's another health insurance. I mean, what health insurance is at least $500 a month. So imagine that's with insurance. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, this person and all people that are on insulin can look forward to that being a potential unless there is an executive order to knock it down again. Now, if that's the case, that would solely be for ego reasons. That would be solely for erasing somebody else's legacy. Why not leave it in place? So, but this person could be looking at paying $475 a month again for their child's insulin. So just as keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the epinephrine, what I found, and there's varying different costs on these, but prior to the cut, they were looking at about $600 a month for epinephrine treatment or medication. So now that's one that you don't always have to use one. So, but I have heard a cost over $1,300 for epinephrine. So fortunately, there's more companies getting involved. So obviously with that, markets, kind of bring them down a bit. It's just capitalism at work, the beneficial side of capitalism at work. So that one's being moved. One other one that I want to touch, actually two more before we get off of Facebook Live, is the federal mandate for masks. So the federal mandate on the requirement that anybody on federal property or land is required to wear a mask for trying to reduce COVID exposure. With that, immediately after that executive order was signed, a lot of the Biden campaign were seen on federal property, in the cabinet, not campaign, sorry, were seen on the property without their mask. And actually, the press secretary was questioned about it by one of the reporters, and her response was not very tactful, and silly. Instead of addressing it, saying I made a mistake, and I do apologize. It's a new habit we're all getting used to, and a requirement we're all getting used to. It's more of rules for thee, not for me, which is we have bigger fish we need to fry, or bigger subjects that we need to focus on. One of those subjects was praised by the news, which is president-elect, or president now, however illegitimate he is he going to change the color scheme on Air Force One? Wow, that's riveting. I can't wait to hear about that, with insulin costs going up and epinephrine going up, and our troops being forced to sleep in a garage for the support that they have, because Biden's for the troops and Trump was against them, of course, which I'm being facetious, by the way.
And they're going to be there till March. Did you see that? So y'all knew about the attack that was going to happen on the Capitol way beforehand, chose to do nothing. And then you set up your little castle that's an inauguration, and we all feel like we're at, you're Louis the 14th up there celebrating, and you have these poor 30,000 National Guardsmen staying in the Capitol hallways, and you're going to keep them till March for what? What's the point? It doesn't, they weren't, oh gosh.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi actually, let me rephrase that. I said her name wrong. I apologize to everybody. I mispronounced the Crypt Keeper's name. By the way, if you watch Tales from the Crypt, that was before Nancy got House Speaker. That's why they no longer have the series, because she can't do both jobs at once.
Okay.
All I ever see is her going.
Yeah, she looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. Like she's about to fly in on her broomstick at any moment and just swoop you up,
But I mispronounced. Yeah, I agree. I mispronounced her name. It is not Pelosi. It is Pill-O-C.
Oh, Pill-O-C.
I'm not a big person. I'm really not big on ad hominems, but they're not beneath me. They're not. Like right now, I'm in it. I am 100% in it. You know what? I'm for it. It's Pill-O-C. But what she wanted was, she actually asked, I forgot the exact term on this, but was a multi-troop fed, God damn it, machine guns that she wanted. So basically she wanted belt-fed machine guns ready at the Capitol in case the protests went off and went a different direction.
What is
so
this?
Here we are.
We'll run. Like, what are you talking about, Nancy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, she wanted that on the. She wanted those mounted and ready to go in case the protesters, the violent Trump extremists, the national extremists that we have, the white national extremists, might actually rush the Capitol and try to take it all over. So she wanted the National Guard to be armed like that. Obviously, they didn't approve that. She's a lunatic. I think that's how you pronounce that, right? Lunatic?
Yeah, lunatic.
Just making sure I'm saying it right.
Anytime you go to the bathroom at night and you're afraid to see like that figure that's in the back of like your soul, it's actually just Nancy Pelosi. Like that's who you would see if you actually saw that fear in your brain,
I've been trained since I was a kid. Watch out, don't hang your feet over the edge. And if I have kids, I'm gonna tell them the same thing. Pelosi's gonna come out and get you, little feetsies. They're gonna get you. You're gonna lose them. Yeah. You don't want to walk around stumps. You'll never make it to Congress.
You'll never make it.
Yeah. She'll eat them off, and then she'll know you've been marked. Yeah. All right. Enough with beating her up, but I do want to talk about the troops, and this absolutely just pisses me off. So our troops were up there. They're making sure they're protecting the Capitol after what happened on January 6th, which is the jury is not out anymore. The FBI has released that there were there was planning that was ahead of time. And the FBI has also said that Trump was not responsible for what happened, that was planned by some other organization, and that they do know for a fact that Antifa was involved. So with that, good job on that. And then rushing the impeachments, you sorry sack of votes. All right. So with that, let's just say the troops, they've been forced to stay there. They were moved from the Capitol and from actually having at least someplace that was climate controlled and forced into a garage with one bathroom that has 2 stalls for 5,000 troops, 1 outlet for power, to sleep in a frickin' parking garage. That is an atrocity. But let's say again, you know, Trump didn't support the troops. Biden does. Trump said horrible things about the troops. Never said it, by the way. The Atlantic was wrong on that, and I hope to God they sue the crap out of the Atlantic.
Just to throw in something there too, Chad. So a friend of mine, he was in the military, and he told me that, do you know how much it costs to mobilize a troop like that and send them to an area for an extended amount of time? So not only are they being treated poorly, but we're also spending a lot of money to do it.
Yeah.
To mobilize 30,000 troops.
Don't worry about the economy. And I do have a feeling that they're trying to break the dollar so that we can go on a different currency. But that's another conversation for another day. And I promise you, it's not a radical idea. We should probably talk about it to expose it so that at least it doesn't sound radical, because there's logic behind my thought there. Anyway, so as far as that goes, our troops, they're, you know, they did a photo op where they were shaking hands. They were just like, you know, hey, great job, all of us. And then the next thing you know, they're like, thank you for protecting us the day before. And then the next day they're forced to sleep in a freaking parking garage. Now, of course, the DC police has come back over and let them know they're allowed to go back in, but damage is done. So calling the troops, you know, Biden called them dumb bastards. A clap for that, you dumb bastards. Yeah, but he loves them.
Right.
Yeah. But a note on this, and then we'll end on it. Oh no, we're going to end on after the next statement, and then we'll go back to our channel only. But the Trump opened the Trump Hotel and gave all of the troops that are forced to sleep in the garage, gave them rooms to sleep in. So he opened it up, even though it does nothing for him. He's not president anymore. He's where he is, or at least as far as we know, he isn't president anymore. But as of now, who the frick knows what the hell is going on anymore? 2020 really rattled a lot of our cages. But yeah, he opened up his hotel and said they can stay there. You know, that's, to me, what a good person to do that. Nobody else is jumping in on that. They're like, oh, you can go sleep in the garage. Well, at least you didn't get rained on. Yeah, right. Whatever. So as far as that goes, one other thing to touch, and then we're going to jump off Facebook Live and finish up on the channel, is just think about prior to the election in 2020, who was it that was forcing businesses to close? What cities, what states? Who was it saying that we are under such a horrible situation where we're going to lose lives for a disease or a virus that kills less than 1%? But we're going to kill people off, this major kill off. And if we don't close, we're going to, everybody's going to die. Businesses, middle class businesses, hell, even some of the larger companies losing revenue left and right because they couldn't even do their job. They couldn't run their business properly. For the ones that could open up, revenues were reduced because they couldn't service as many people necessary to keep their businesses open. All of that going on. And now miraculously, day 2, I believe it was, they changed the standard of testing. It's no longer one test positive, therefore your numbers are up. It's actually 2 tests medically administered by a doctor, and you can't get a negative until it's negatively cleared by a doctor. So instead of 1 test positive, now the numbers are going to show less, because if the tests are inconsistent, which I saw a Coke can test positive, there's things around that anyway, but I won't go into it right now. But I saw things that tested positive that were inanimate objects. Now they require 2 tests administered by a doctor before they actually conclude that it's a positive. And once you're done, you actually get medical clearance that you're done. What that will do is it reduces the infection rate because it takes out a lot of the false positives. That's one part of it. And we're allowed to do that now. How wonderful, right? And so there's that, so that we can show the numbers are dropping, which is an artificial drop because they were artificially inflated. Then you have this IPA is pretty good.
Right? I told you. You were like hating on.
You just hit me.
That's because that's some
you just took me off the rail. Yeah.
Some Georgia water beer right there. Okay.
Yeah,
All you Floridians
red clay water
about sweet water. If you like beer and you're from Florida, you need to go up and get some. And now you can get it at Publix. You can get sweet water anywhere. It's a great beer. Yeah. And again, kind of going
I know that you are a Sweetwater 420 fanboy.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Speaking of Sweetwater, which is a small business, kind of the tangent into what you're talking about, and think about the businesses that are being closed. So they're not the big box stores, they're not Publix, and nothing against Publix. So it's not Walmart. It's not all the big stores that are forcing to shut down. It's the mom and pops. Like I remember there's a lot of instances, especially in California, where there was these small mom and pop stores that were told they couldn't have outdoor dining. They weren't allowed because I guess the exterior of their building wasn't large enough on the patio. But literally across the street, they allowed Hollywood to set up feeding tents for their employees that were filming a movie nearby. Like it was literally the same amount of freaking space. So they're not shutting down businesses, they're shutting down small businesses, the ones that they know that can't survive if they were to close. And what are the odds of you getting COVID or contracting this virus at a small mom and pop restaurant or at Walmart? Which one do you think is going to be more? You're more likely. It's just common sense. Of course, it's going to be Walmart. You're more likely to get the virus in. So their logic doesn't make sense.
No,
the clown show continues.
But yeah, don't worry. I'm going to close the segment on that one. Yeah. So with that, it's the point that I had lost thanks to Sweetwater and my ADD was throughout 2020. As soon as Biden took office, they changed the standards for tests. The other point before I get to that is that CNN even took the infection rate off of their regular publications. So when they go online or go on air, they used to have a counter that shows you how many people were infected. It's no longer there because that's to reduce the fear so that people think that things are getting better. Before, it was to think that things were getting worse because they didn't want Trump there, but they want Biden in. So it's a biasness. The piece that I really think that everybody should take into consideration, you should be angry at the fact that they played politics with your life, with your livelihood. They put your job opportunities on the line. They took your business opportunities and put them on the line just so that they could try to get rid of whoever the hell they wanted to get rid of and put whoever they want in. That was your life they played a chess game with. So when it comes to that, that's something to consistently consider that that's what they did to you. Because all you have to do is look at how they changed the standards as soon as they had who they wanted. That's it. That's all you have to do. Look at it that way versus going, oh, you know what? Trump was horrible. Well, he knocked down drug costs. He increased our economy, gave great job stability, gave us a lot of opportunities. Just because he didn't hit the progressive political pieces that people say that we need to get now that we're moving into a new era because we're advancing as a society. He built us up as a nation so we could be energy independent, which we were, to increase the likelihood that you'll have a good paying job. Now they're going off, which is, if you caught the last episode, I talked about TTIP. TTIP is a transatlantic, and there's two of them, transatlantic trade agreement partnership. And then there's the Trans-Pacific. So there's two of them, same concept, different countries that they're involved with. One, actually, the transatlantic is the one that China uses to get their products in without tariffs whenever this stuff was going on. So Trump actually put tariffs on it so that their products were competitively priced with American-made products. So anyway, all of that aside, there's a bigger thing about that, but you can check the last episode to see it. All right. That's actually all I got for Facebook Live. Do you have anything else you want to throw in there, Joshua?
No, I think we kind of covered most of it. The rest of it, they'll just have to check out on our channel. On Facebook Live, we kind of give like a little clip of what we talk about. But normally we go to our channel, it's a little bit more in depth, a little bit more extravagant, I guess you could say. So if you haven't checked out the channel, please do so. Like we really go into detail about a lot of things that need to be talked about, should be talked about. I think you would enjoy it too. So come check it out, please.
Absolutely. It's Waking the People on YouTube. You'll also find it on Rumble, BitChute. Parler's not quite ready for it just yet. And also Parler's more like Twitter, but you can still find links to get to all kinds of stuff. But as far as all that goes, to one more thing that came off the last episode that we did Facebook Live last week was don't stab anybody with damn frozen squirrels, please. And remember, we're all in this together. And I'm going to send us off with a little soundtrack again from the inauguration. And then we're going to go right back to the channel. So if you want to catch more about this, we'll be publishing that this video in its entirety later today. Actually, we'll say by tomorrow afternoon by 2 o'clock. So, all right, here we go.
Welcome to the USA.
Woo, come on, Bozo. Executive orders.
I'm not
All
gonna
right,
let you.
you cool cats and kittens and all the rest of that jazz, and stay the hell away from Carol Baskin, because I've never seen Carol Baskin in the same place as Hillary Clinton at the same time. There's a pretty good chance that they're the same person, and don't mess with them, because you'll get suicided. So have a great day, and catch us on Waking the People on YouTube and the other platforms, and look for the commercial I made yesterday. So enjoy the hell out of the rest of your day, enjoy your weekend, and keep up with whatever the hell you want to keep up with. All right, back over to us.
Perfect. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so this, if you drink Bud Light, this is my big problem with Bud Light. Bud Light is all the proceeds, all the revenue from Bud Light actually go to China. So
Those sucky sons of bitches.
it's rice beer, but I've been drinking. I've had a couple the fine Miller, right, American beer, and I have to go to the bathroom, Chad. So I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to pause for a moment.
All right.
For the viewers, you're only going to see this second, and we're going to be right back immediately.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, welcome back, guys, gals, cool cats, kittens, all the rest of y'all patriots and or not so patriotic people that are tuning in. We are back now, so we have stopped the Facebook Live segment, which, by the way, I did actually give it permission to delete after 30 days because, whatever. Anyway, all right, so we're back. I actually switched my beer around. So I had the Sweetwater 420, and I found out when I went to the restroom exactly where they're getting the water source for Sweetwater 420, because I could smell it as I urinated. So I'm like, I see what it is. That's those rednecks up there in the Georgia area. They got that red clay and water. Got yourself a little bit of red clay and water in there.
Red clay sucks in Georgia.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Yeah, we were talking about.
I made a mistake here. Hold on. I made a little bit of a mistake. I need to go at it like an over ambitious girl in prom night.
Beer bump.
Yeah, now a little beer bump. Dropped it and started spilling everywhere. If you want to continue though, I'll be right back. So I saw y'all looking at it. I do squats. I know you can tell.
Right. So we were talking about beforehand about how we were discussing one of the comments when we went live on Facebook about how people really don't like to talk about politics. I don't know why. I feel like if this many people feel this strongly about a certain issue, that they would want to discuss it. I guess it's because it kind of crosses that boundary. We've always been told since we were growing up that, there's two things you don't discuss. One's politics, one's religion. But if we don't discuss these matters, and if we can't discuss these matters in a civil way that doesn't lead to violence or fighting or screaming or, in their friendships or all the encompasses that happen when you discuss politics, then we're never going to get anywhere with it. It's almost like have you ever had like an issue, whether it be like, like a little side addiction or, like a problem in your life that you just like always knew was there, but never really decided to act on it or to discuss the matters, have those difficult conversations as they call them. Well, then that's what politics is in our society. If we have this many people who feel this strong about certain topics and are willing to create the chaos that is our world right now, in a sense, not completely, but in our sense, definitely in the political realm, then obviously the conversation hasn't been had and we're on two completely different pages. So instead of getting emotional about it and overreacting and doing all that comes with discussing politics, keep your emotions in check, understand the person, and maybe that'll have a ripple effect where we can have people in office who actually understand that. A friend of mine told me, he actually brought up a good point, like, revolution's been thrown around, civil war has been thrown around as far as like right now in our time. But if you think about if we were to somehow come together and be able to discuss the matters that we think are important and come to some middle ground. And if you really want a revolution, then it would just be the entire population of the United States going to the Capitol and being like, no, like we're on the same page now. We know what to do. Y'all can go home. Like we'll find new people. That's the ultimate goal. So if we never get that, we never have the conversation, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I have to acknowledge three things here. One, there's some noise going on in the background because my Ring cameras, which by the way, don't buy those. There's other companies that are far better, better quality, and no subscription, by the way, look it up. So it just gave me the heads up. Somebody was out in the driveway. Secondly, I apologize that that noise was going on while you're trying to listen to Joshua talk about like actually bringing these conversations to the table. The majority of the things that Joshua and I talk about, we have a lot of relatability with what we discuss. But there's also things that we do have some differing opinions on. And the great thing is, it does not affect our relationship at all that we have differing opinions. Now, where are those differing opinions? We've only come across a couple and they're subtle, really subtle. So it's not like it does anything to our relationship. What I have found in the last 2 years, major influence in the last year, is people killing off others just in the relationship part, not like physically killing them off. But as soon as they realize somebody disagrees with them or has a different political view, they immediately disown them. They take this to the point where they're like, you know what? Done with you. You're an idiot. You're out of my life. I'm not going to bother with you. You're toxic. The whole idea about toxic people is toxic in itself. Because this idea of eliminating people from your life because of this blind optimism is going to take you away from the table of conversations that are necessary. We don't need to get softer as a nation. We need to be able to confront difficulties. That's why the hell would we want to have such a soft life? So you know what they say is that, was it hard times breed hard men? Again, just it's not a gender thing. It's just an old statement. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create good times. Good times create soft men. Soft men create hard times or soft time. Oh no, off the hard times, and then the cycle continues to repeat itself. Sorry, it's not one that I live by as an adage that's on my wall, but it is one that I heard, and I'm like, shit, that is so correct. It's just, what generation are you in? Right now, we're in the softest of times because we don't need to worry about where our food's coming from predominantly. We don't need to worry about a lot of stuff, so we get busy-minded. Well, when we get busy-minded, then we start getting all kinds of like, well, why should we argue with other people? We just inherently want to be able to go to discuss things, to have some arguments with people because it helps progress our ideas into the next form of what our idea is when it meets something. It's good to have your ideas ass kicked. That's great. Get your ideas ass kicked, because when your ideas ass get kicked, it's likely going to want to get better, or you're likely to let go of it. One or the other. But if you harbor the idea because you treat it like this innocent child that you don't ever want to have anything bad happen to it, well, now you're going to create this thing that possesses you, not you possessing it. So we need to be able to bring these ideas to the table so we can say, I agree with you or I disagree with you, and not have to go to freaking fisticuffs over it, or create safe spaces and call in the authorities so that they take you away because your idea is different from the majority of the people that say that they're bad, which is what you see at universities right now. I mean, for frick's sake, you know what? Fuck it. For fuck's sake. We're on Facebook Live anymore. They can eat a dick. Anyway, for fuck's sake, Jordan Peterson has been created into being a far-right Nazi. That man is left center. He's liberal. And they call him far-right. They call him a Nazi. It's Jordan Peterson. It's Dr. Jordan Peterson. That's insane to me. If you read his stuff, he's just like, all he wants to do is get people to get along. He wants the atomic family, or the nuclear family, sorry. He wants the nuclear family. He wants people to just get along. He wants people to have all the opportunities. He wants people to get out of their own damn way. He wrote 12 Rules for Life, an antidote to chaos. Because what does it do? It tells you how to be a fucking person and stop fighting with people. Take responsibility for yourself first thing in the morning. Make your bed. Don't go throwing around orders that other people straighten up their life when you don't even do it for your own life. You're a hypocrite. That's what he teaches people. But we get these soft people that got used to good times because hard men create good times. And then they're riding on those accolades to the point that they ruin the good times. Then hard men got to rise up again in order to make times good again. It's insane. I'm throwing my hands around. That's how animated I am about it. That's how motivated I am about talking about it.
It's true.
So why shouldn't we be able to bring these ideas to the table? Because people tell you that you can't say certain things. What is that about the First Amendment? The freedom of speech. Why did our forefathers create the First Amendment? The reason for that is because they didn't want to have disrupted times because people couldn't get along in a conversation. Because you should be able to share your ideas. You're sharing your ideas help progress us as a country. But as soon as you start saying, well, no, Joshua can't say this because of the color of the skin or his skin, or whatever other thing that they want to say that actually reduces it. Well, because you hold on to old misogynistic, patriarchal ideas, you're a horrible human being. And that means you're a misogynist and that you can't be a human being because you're a bad person. You must be a Nazi. That's the thing. That's the way I'm going to label you. I'm going to silence you now. You're a Nazi.
Right. And if you're sitting there thinking you're hearing this, oh, well, what do you mean, Chad? Like, you have plenty of ways to voice your opinion or to, say what you want to say. Another thing I saw from the inauguration is that there officially now is a White House Twitter account. This came from the same people who I've heard for the last 4 years say, oh, President Trump doesn't need to be on Twitter. Twitter's not presidential. It's a problem. Day one, now there's a White House Twitter account for Joe Biden to use. So that tells me Twitter wasn't the issue. The issue was that people having a direct line with what's actually going on was the issue. Isn't that crazy? Day one, White House Twitter account. I heard that and I almost fell over my chair.
It's insane. Also, what did they do? They actually suspended President Donald Trump's Twitter account. They suspended it. Now they're going to open up another one for another president. If people don't realize, okay, when they say it's a private company, they do whatever they want. They're right. Private company could also bake any cake they want or not. A private company could open whenever there's a pandemic. A private company could do what the hell they want, regardless of government mandate, or they can't. Make up your mind. But to play the game of you're on my team or you support my idea, therefore you're in the right, but those other people that are under the exact same situations and circumstances are in the wrong. You have Twitter's competition is Parler. Parler is a lot like Twitter. Facebook went to support Twitter. Mainstream media went to support Twitter when Parler went on the rise. Because people were freaking done with being censored because they have center, conservative, and far-right ideas. Hell, liberals left it because they weren't progressive enough, because they felt that progressives were pushing them to think ideas that they don't really harbor. So they started getting labeled as right sympathizers. What's actually great about this entire thing is at some point in time, those far left crazy people, in my opinion, are going to eventually find out that they have whittled their population down, that they only have the elitist on their side anymore and everybody else is against them because they pushed everybody out by making them the enemy. They'll isolate themselves or they will consume everybody. I don't think they're going to consume everybody. I think it's just a matter of time before they finally get to the point that they actually agree, or we all agree, that those people are the issue. By the way, whenever they go into the whole Nazi thing and all the rest of that shit, Russia under Stalin and under Putin was communism. Germany, when Hitler rose to power, was socialist. Socialism and communism are extremely similar. Hitler hated socialism, but he used it as a means to help gain power because it makes a lot of promises that can't be delivered on. Oh, they just can't be. They sound great, though. So those two sleep in the same bed. They starkly stood against capitalism whose capitalism gave too much power to the individual when the government was striving to create power for themselves.
And then
There are people that are successful. What's that?
added that's a great point. The few capitalists that he allowed to still remain in Germany when he was there were ones that he had control over. So interesting. Similarities. Amazon, Walmart.
Mm-hmm. You're in bed with me, baby.
Yeah. See, those are the only ones he allowed. They're the only capitalist markets he allowed to stay inside Nazi Germany, the ones he had control of.
Hey, as long as you're in bed with me, baby.
Right? Gosh. And just to be clear, the U.S. it's a mixed economy. So we have a little bit of capitalism, a little bit of socialism, unemployment. We have Social Security, welfare. We have some socialistic type features that we use in our economy, but we're talking about a complete socialist economy where there is no capitalism at all, and it's never worked, never, not one time it's been successful. At least if you were to poll all the citizens if it was successful or not, they'd tell you what's successful. Maybe the leaders would tell you it was successful, but yeah,
because they're the ones that benefit.
Exactly.
The individual is not the one that benefits. But anyway, we won't stay on this topic for too long because we don't want to make it about that as a whole. But you're damn right, we do want to make it about something. All right, let's get back to touching on some of these other things that we discussed earlier. Mr. Joshua. So let's do this. For the witnesses watching this, guys and gals, look, we're opinionated. We're not radical with our opinions. We will discuss this stuff. Now, there is something that I'm going to suggest. If you're watching this video, we're going to encourage you to actually make comments in the comment section. But here's something that I want you to consider. If you come into the comment section in a way that you yourself would react negatively, try to curtail your conversation, you're likely not to get engagement. First statement. Because look, nobody wants somebody coming in hot like an asshole that's trying to force us to immediately to go, hey man, I'm just reading some comments. Oh, look at that. I'm a horrible human being based off this person that's never met me and they only heard my ideas for a few minutes. Come in with at least a human approach. Comment, share the video, bring some points up. Maybe we missed some stuff or we didn't miss it. We just didn't say it, right? Directly. There's all kinds of stuff. Maybe we're just oblivious to some things. Details matter. We only have the perspectives of reality that we could possibly see in ourselves and from what we've engaged with each other. So bring your ideas to it. Comment in the comment section. But if you come in like an asshole, it's a pretty good chance you're not going to get a whole lot of engagement. You probably will get your comment deleted or isolated. So with that, let's talk. Bring in the discourse. So Joshua, you had mentioned that you wanted to talk a little bit. Did you cover all the points that you wanted to on the LGBTQ portion of the executive order? Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like there's anything else you want to cover on the Keystone?
Not really. I guess just the ripple effect that not only with the job loss, but the rising gas prices. Obviously, when we're able to travel more, that means airlines are going to be more expensive. So just overall, the broad span of what it means to not be energy dependent anymore versus being energy dependent, and the ripple effect that we're all going to have. So we're going to feel it. It's going to be pretty soon, and you'll realize it.
Yep. That's the thing. For me, most people just don't understand how the economy works. Now, I'm not an economist. I am a layperson in this, but I'm 41. I have had 3 businesses, and I've worked for more companies than I probably, if I reflect back, I'll probably have worked with more than I would come up with in the immediate moment if I thought about it for a while. So I've worked for a lot of different businesses. I've studied industrial psychology, several different forms of psychology. Industrial psychology really held my attention for a while, same as clinical. Did not finish either one because I'm an idiot. Not really. It's just life circumstances. I had to keep my house and also the power, or the lights on, and the job didn't do. Anyway, all you guys don't need to hear me crying on anybody's shoulder. But when it comes to the economy, is this, and it's pretty simple. We all contribute to the economy. We're part of it. We purchase inside of it. We work inside of it. We feed each other through this process. You have to look at what we're able to produce as a nation and sell to other countries in order to bring goods in, also to bring in wealth. If we're buying from everywhere else, we go into a debt. It's pretty simple to understand. We're already in debt. During the 4 years Trump was in office, we were working our way out of debt because we became energy independent, which was awesome. And we have not been that for a long time. We had created a GDP that was actually, we were just really working as a business, as a country, versus this other stuff where every time we turn around, we have to buy something from somebody else. So the economy is something that is a big animal. Because it's something that has so many parts, most people either don't know to think about it, or when they do think about it, it's not engaging enough for them or doesn't feel relevant enough. It is absolutely relevant to your life. We have to be concerned with the economy enough that we play the role we're supposed to play within it. With that being said, American made is going to be more expensive in the within the next several years. It's probably not going to find a relevant footing in pricing for a long time if these policies that are being put forth by the Biden cabinet goes into place and affects us as it does. Is everything that I see that has happened since he signed all these executive orders from Wednesday till today, which is Saturday the 23rd of 2021, everything that he has done makes it seem like he is trying to create the most infamous name as a president ever in history. As he has made our drug prices go up, he's knocked people's jobs out. We went back into the Paris Accord, which there are plenty of countries that do not abide by the Paris Accord. China, they can produce all the crap they want. They're not part of it. We spend a hell of a lot of money. I believe it's $20 billion a year to be a part. And I'm not, don't quote me on that. It's up there though. I believe it's 20 billion a year to just be a part of the Paris Accord. That means that we are going to be less fossil fuel directed. We're going to be cleaner. We're going to try to clean up the population or the pollution in the environment. I'm an advocate for all that, but let's do it tactfully. Let's not kill our economy and our country in the process. We went back into that.
So the interglaciation or the interglaciation period where the poles are more going towards, the poles instead of to the equator. We've been in that for the last 10,000 years. So it's not like it's anything new where maybe we've contributed to it or not, but there are right ways to do, energy, clean energy, or to change up what we normally use for energy, but drastic, sharp, quick changes normally don't work out.
Yep. And look, there are natural reactions in the world. I have argued that obviously human beings are going to make some sort of impact. How much of an impact is hard to tell because the earth does what the earth does, and the timelines that we've had observations over, we have limitations to our ability to see what's happened with our history. We do have ways of seeing it though, but there's limitations to it. So with that, I've always sided with let's do what we can. Let's say best case scenario versus worst case. So let's try to be more responsible. That's where I've always gone with it. But here's the thing about it. We need to do it tactfully. I'm not saying we need to say, you know what, let's go till the last drop of oil is out of the earth. Well, that's a stupid route to go because at some point in time, we're going to be running around like Mad Max trying to figure out where we're going to get a little bit of freaking a squirt of gasoline. So we don't want to go that route, right? That would be like, the right gets too much control and they don't think about what the next step is, which I could not see them doing that because they are logical and methodical to the point that they would realize at some point in time they need to transition into the next thing. But we also have the left that says, you know what, let's just get off it now. It's creating greenhouse gases and all these issues going to increase our, the temperatures and all this, and weather and climate are different things. And, you just don't know enough. And then you get AOC freaking asking for some salt lick, Sorry, that's another ad hominem. But can't stand that woman. She's a progressive lunatic. Everything. She's going to bitch about everything. She'll attack. She's the example of they will eat their own.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I listened to a guy named Nick DiPaolo. I freaking love this guy. He's hilarious. If you guys don't know who he is, find him. Nick DiPaolo. He used to be on YouTube. YouTube banned him. So he went to his own thing. It's thecomicgym.com, which is the comic, and gym is spelled GYM.
Okay.
Like
Gym.
the workout gym, right?
Yeah.
.com. Nick DiPaolo, he's freaking hilarious. But he has a segment on there that he calls Libs Eating Libs. And he picks up articles about like how, liberal thinking people will attack other liberal thinking people if they're not liberal enough. which is actually the reality is it's usually more progressives eating progressives because they'll eat their own unless they're distracted by somebody else they're trying to take down. You know, like AOC trying to freaking get, I forgot all the senators and congressmen she's trying to get out of politics. She's after Ted Cruz and demanding that he resigns because he had an objection to the Electoral College counting their votes. She says he's unconstitutional. He doesn't belong in politics.
It's a constitutional right. What is she talking about?
She's a lunatic.
2016, I believe in the Bush Gore, it was done. It's been done several times. It has its purpose. It's supposed to be there just in case we have discrepancies that need to be looked at.
You know what I think is absolutely glaringly obvious and unbelievably funny to me is that AOC she supposedly has a degree in economics. I don't understand it. I don't. Then again, I mean, well, economics is not one of the humanities, is it? I don't believe economics is one of the humanities.
I think it's a theory, right?
Let me see.
There's been philosophers that have touched on economics, but you would think at this point it's almost like I don't want to say mathematics, but I mean you can calculate it. So I don't think they would, consider that a romantic. Could be wrong on that though.
There it is. Let's take a little peekaroo here. Educating old Chadbert.
And we're going to keep buying oil. It's not like we're going to stop using gas. We're just going to buy it from somebody else. So it doesn't make sense. Like if you want to transition, let's continue to use our own so it's cheaper. And then we can work on, either creating more solar or whatever kind of, renewable energy you want to transition to. But just to completely like cut off your hand despite your face or whatever the saying is, it's pretty abrupt to say the least. Iran loves it. Saudi Arabia loves it. Just buy from them.
Huh. Oh yeah, it falls in. Maybe that's why she is as radical as she is.
I like paying like 89 cents or $1.97 for gas like it was not too long ago. That was great.
Yeah.
Now you just go to the gas station pretty soon, you're just going to be crying.
Yep. Oh, I was just doing it the other day. Oh, all right. So it looks like we just had, it's not a world first by any means. You're going to see this a lot on this channel. And it does look like general consensus is that that economics falls more into the humanities, although it's not exclusively there. It does have a lot of the values in the humanities. So it does make sense to why she would have some very radical and progressive ideas, which is sad to me. But it's also, there's a lot of theory that's involved with, to say theory, I guess that does fall into the scientific method, being that it does have theoretical elements. There's facts that support it up to the point that they say that's the theory of it based off so many different facts. But what I see is experimental. Her belief system, she's caught up in a lot of critical race theory issues. She's caught up in a lot of equity concepts that really, the people that seem to resonate with her seem to be more people that are educated through the universities at that same type of, through the same area, through the humanities.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've ranted on a bit.
Now, just to build onto that, I like how you brought that up. So it made me think of something. So what do you think about all of like the, one of the more progressive thoughts is for free higher education or, secondary school. Education is something that kind of, we just talked about education, how she is, educated to talk about economics. But part of me feels like by making education a little bit more accessible, which it already kind of is now, but don't you think that'll devalue education in a way? Like how,
if everybody can have it.
Yeah,
right.
It's economics, supply, if there's more people with bachelor's degrees in the market, so that means demand for bachelor's degrees is going to go down because there's more people available for it. So you would have to go to the next step of education, which is the master's degrees. And it just becomes a slippery slope of constantly having to outrun the hamster wheel in a sense,
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, eventually it does put everybody at the same level,
Yeah.
which is their goal.
Yeah.
The thing is that nobody really wants to be at the same level. They say they want to be at the same level, but the majority of the people that say that are the ones that are lower than what they say they want everybody else to be at. You don't really get that a lot in the wealthy or the elite class saying they want everybody to be the same level, except for the ones that want to govern the ones that want to be at the same level. So that there's two classes. There's the everybody at the same level class, and then there's the elite class that actually help hold that system together. And those are the people that are in power. Those are the ones that are in politics. Those are the ones that make the decisions. So if everybody has the same Mercedes or the same car that costs the same, what are we going to do as a people? Now, like you could already tell, like most people are caught up in the idea of trying to look like they've achieved something else somebody else hasn't. It gives them some sort of noteworthiness, some sort of notoriety. Now, what are we going to do about that? Are we all going to be satisfied with all having the same abilities? We use the lowest impoverished individuals, like the ones that can't afford to keep their electric on, or they've got, the walls are falling down. And then we say, well, these people need to be up with everybody else. I agree, but I don't think we should be up by just throwing stuff at them. They should be up by helping them understand how to, create the life they want to live so that they get the education they need, or they get the jobs that they need, or they break the bad habits to keep them from it. Whatever it is that keeps them there. If it's a lack of knowledge or whatever it may be, work on that aspect versus saying, well, you've achieved too much in your life, therefore we're going to create a slogan called "Eat the Rich," and you're the rich, so we're going to eat you. That's just absolute stupidity.
I mean, think about the people. Think of all the people like the doctors, or even my own friends who have student loan debt, and they spent the last 10 years paying off their student loan debt to better their life, and then here at the same time, someone jumps in where their education was paid for, like by the government, and it almost, you're just like, what the heck? I just contributed all this money to better myself, and here I am exactly where someone else started because they had a little bit more assistance than I did, and it's a merry-go-round.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. All right, so you got the loans, you went to school, you got your degree, you're working your way to get your degree, whatever it is, and now you're saying the government should bail you out, should pay off your debt, or at least give you a good deal of money to go towards that debt. The winner in this scenario is obviously the university, but the loser in the scenario is going to be every taxpayer that has to pay that money in order to get them to the point that they paid off their debt. But the taxpayers that are paying off the people's debts that went to college, they're not going to have a degree to go with that. There's no concept that actually works out in creating fairness, even though that's where they're coming from. Shouldn't have these debts. It's extremely stupid. Also, if you think about it, if you went off to college, why do I need to pay off your debt if you're the one that's supposed to be smarter than me?
Yeah, it's true.
You went to college, you're the one that's supposed to be educated to the point you can pay off your debt. Why do I have to take it out of my tax money to pay it off? And what it is just puts you against me versus thinking about the fact that college has become an inflated thing. And if we think that this is it, once these college debts start getting paid off, if we think that's it, they're going to increase the freaking cost.
Yeah, it's true.
They've already done it. Once we had government guaranteed loans, they increased the inflation went up like crazy. Okay, so now we're just creating the next step to them becoming extremely wealthy organizations.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They already control everything. Look at sports. I mean, like there's college football, it's actually a nice little tangent. It might be a nice little kind of like breather point. But the fact that we've had the same teams compete in the college national football championship for the past like 6 years in a row, it's because they got the most money. They're making the most.
Yeah, you want to go to college? We'll give you a free ride.
Yeah,
just come on over here. Or if you get a free ride academically, or I'm sorry, athletic free ride. It's if we want to really make it so that college is affordable, then they need to go directly at the colleges and mandate that they actually restrict the amount of money they can charge for their courses versus saying, oh, let's just go ahead and do college forgiveness. No. What they should do is go over, make sure that they actually okay, never mind. I heard something going on in the house. Yeah, They should just go after them and say, you know what, we're going to reduce. We're going to put a limitation on how much money you can charge for your courses and for your degrees. That's it. Make it something that's reasonable. Don't sit there and make the taxpayer pay for it now, because it's just moving the ball down the road, kicking the can down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, it definitely should be more affordable, but just to put off all that, all the, I guess, what the risk involved with just taking on that financial commitment of going to school, whether it be, someone who can pay for it, whether you can't pay for it, it's still trying to build value in yourself. So by making it free, that value goes away. So like you said, they're just gonna increase it up. Like there has to be some kind of value. Someone's got to get something out of it, whether it be the individual receiving the education or the institution receiving the money. Someone's got to, in most cases, both parties will prosper. But by making it even, flatline, zero, there's no one prospers.
Yeah.
The institution
Well,
doesn't, the person doesn't.
Yeah, and the idea that it's going to be free, it won't be free. It may not cost you anything directly out of your pocket, but it will cost the taxpayer something. And if the government is the one that's paying this, well, our taxes go up whether you go to university or not, which you're more likely to go to university if you don't have to pay anything for it. But still, but here's the other thing. They can continue to push whatever curriculum they want, which is still true. I mean, you can push whatever curriculum you want. I have a problem whenever they're teaching communism in schools in a proactive way. It tears away at the fabric of our country. It changes us, because over time we just become more and more communist. We become more and more socialist, because that's what we get a lot of. The majority of the people that I run into that are professed communists or socialists, they're university students, or they went through the university. There's next to no one that I've ever talked to that actually falls into those categories, whether they're a communist or a socialist, that did not go to university. So this is my 2 cents on it. You know what? But I'm a freaking idiot anyway. So why would anybody want to listen to me about this?
Go ask the people who live in communist countries how they like it. Go ask them. Go interview somebody. Like, go interview someone who lived in Cuba, or go interview someone that lived in communist China in parts, or whatever communist country, like a Vietnamese person who lives in the United States. Go ask them how they like it and see what they say. I bet you they don't like it.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why everybody wanted to come to the United States, and why they still do. Yeah. They're coming to a dream that's dying, an idea that's on its, it's being poisoned. So, all right. I don't have a whole lot. I got to close up here now, but do you have anything else you want to throw in there, Joshua?
I think we kind of touched on everything. Hopefully things will start to not go in the direction that they are right now. But I do feel like this is going to be good, because I like to look at Facebook. I like to look at different social media platforms and just kind of read people's conversations, maybe not necessarily in what I would look at, like let's say CNN or some more left social media platforms, or just media outlets, and just see what they're saying. And I'm already starting to see some people kind of have some kickback, and maybe some questions that weren't asked pre-election versus now. So that could be good. We could start to kind of be working more to a little bit of a middle ground, and starting to actually see who's kind of pulling the strings here, and what the actual general public really feels, maybe not emotionally, with the media kind of driving down their throat nonstop, especially now that it's kind of calmed down. So there might be a little more of a shift, hopefully. It's what I've seen so far, but that's about it. That's hopefully the conversation will continue.
Yeah. That's I think that we're going to shift the way the conversation happens. It just depends on how they handle it. We've been so incredibly emotionally charged on one side, because everybody says hate Trump. The most of the media channels, hate Trump, bad guy. He's caused all of our problems. We need him out of office. No matter what, we just need him gone. Now he's gone. All right. So what are these anger trained reporters going to do next? Talk about puppies?
I know,
or
they got nothing.
The interior colors of Air Force One. Ugh,
the news is just dead. I think part of CNN when he left was like, damn, like he's gone. What are we going to talk about? like what's the weather like today?
Yeah. They'll shift it. They're the boogeyman hunting company, so they'll shift it. They'll come up with other things they need to pursue, but it likely won't be one individual. It'll likely be multiple groups of people, things like that, that'll continue to say, you know what, we do need these re-education camps for Trump supporters, and all the rest of this crazy, freaking far left gulags type of mentality. We need to create a list so that these people are accountable. Oh, a list, you say. Oh, boy, that doesn't sound like something in history that you've been telling us is horrible. No, it sounds good. It sounds right.
Just go with it. It'll
Fucking,
be fine. You're not on it. Don't worry about it.
fucking idiots. Anyway, all right. By the way, this is, I list all of our videos as not child friendly. So, all right, guys, gals, cool cats, kittens, all the rest of that fun stuff. We're all in this together. And let's not forget, Pelosi is a crypt keeper. Schumer is worse than just poor shoe lacquer. Yeah, couldn't even think of anything that really helped with that because he's so horrible. I hate that guy. He sucks. And if you want a turncoat, go no further than going down to your local coat shop and asking them for a McKinney. No, wait, come on, Joshua, help me with this. It's the Sweetwaters that get me.
Turncoat.
Yeah, I get yourself a really nice turncoat. You can get yourself a. He was he was the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, okay, McConnell. Okay, yeah.
Get yourself a McConnell. Worthless little hornless rhino. It's like Dan Crenshaw. Anyway, all right. I'm all kinds of fired up over these politicians being worthless, or against the American American people. All right. Till next time, I'm your host, one of your hosts, Sir Chad Everett Brochures, and I am accompanied by
the Joshua Clinton for now. But just to finish, guys, if you are watching this video and you're maybe on a little bit more on the left side, I really want you to leave a comment. Like, it's not really that much fun when we can't interact with someone who thinks differently, maybe in a more broader way than Chad and I do. And that's kind of the whole point of the show. So if you do disagree, please leave a comment why. Maybe create a discussion point so maybe we can get on a little more of the same page, or just let's create more of a discussion from it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, we're learning for the technical difficulties as we go on. I'm sure we'll get better at it, but it was fun. Sorry if I ruffled your feathers, not really, but that's the whole point, right? So just let's create the discussion.
Absolutely. All right. It's it. That's the end. You all have yourself a fantastic day, whatever time and day you're watching this. And if you think that I'm a jackass, by all means, say it nicely in the comments at least. Until next time, this is Waking the People, and we will see you all soon. Not a threat, a promise.